Joining me today is one of my students. She's been in photography for a long period of time. She started out in film, went to digital, went back to film, went back to digital and film. She's done a little bit of everything. And her time in photography has gone from shooting for fun all the way through now to professional photography. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Lynn. So I just want to real quickly ask, how did you get involved with all this?
Well, I always had an interest in photography back when I was teaching, and I was a Spanish teacher. I took many trips to Spain and took my film camera with me, and always wanted to learn more about photography, but never really had the chance. So when I retired, my husband gave me, I think it was a Nikon D5300, and somebody had referred me to Russ's classes. So I started taking his classes, and it just snowballed from there. I think I've upgraded my camera 3 to 4 times thanks to Russ.
I'm always blamed for
Yeah, buying
buying more
equipment.
gear.
Yeah, I've upgraded my equipment so many times. I've bought equipment from him. I think I took every single one of his classes at least 1 to 2, sometimes 3 times, just so the information would sink into my brain. But I've taken all of his classes, and I've learned a lot. I have notebooks filled with notes, and
Did you start it out in film though, right?
well, in the midst of taking classes from you, I also took a darkroom class, and that got me rolling on the film. And Russ has helped me to get cameras that are for film cameras. I started out with a Nikon F1. I saw a Nikon F6 advertised. Russ, believe it or not, he didn't even know about this camera. But guess what? Within 2 weeks, I had the camera. He was able to score it from a friend of a friend of a friend.
Show him the camera. Lynn brought some things for us to take a look
so
at.
this is my F6. So it's brand new. I've only had it a few months, and the pictures are unbelievable. They are just beautiful. They are so clear. It's almost like having a medium format camera in my opinion.
So this is basically a 35 millimeter film camera. Why did you decide to go back to film after doing digital for a while?
I just really like the anticipation of getting a roll of film developed. I like thinking through the shots more rather than digital. You'll take 5-6 shots of one subject, and this just really keeps you kind of in check. It keeps you thinking about your composition and exposure, and you're just a little more careful. And I like the anticipation of waiting for the film to get developed and then seeing the end results. So
There's not a lot of people developing film anymore. Where are you getting this thing developed?
So the darkroom teacher that I had, he happens to live nearby me, and he will develop my black and white film. I suppose I could probably do it myself, but it's just very easy. He does such a great job. He develops the black and white. I take the color film to a camera store, and then from there I scan it, digitize it, and then I can print it up. So for me, the film that I shoot is a nice blend of the best of both worlds. So I'm still able to do the film, but I'm not, spending hours in a dark room. Although I do love that, I just don't have the time to do everything. But it is the best of both worlds because you're shooting film and then you're also digitizing it. So I love it.
All right. But you also continue with your digital too. So I know that you have currently a Nikon D750.
I have a Nikon D750.
You show them that as well.
Thanks to Russ. Probably like my 4th or 5th upgrade of a camera. So here's the Nikon D750. I believe Russ bought this camera, and then he decided and it's very Russ-esque, if that's the right word, to buy something and then quickly sell it off and get a new camera. But I bought this Nikon D750 from him, brand new. Um, and I have had this one for a few years now, so that's actually kind of not like myself either. But on the camera right now is the 70 to 200 lens, and another purchase from Russ, one of my very favorite purchases, another great piece of photography equipment that he was able to score from a friend of a friend of a friend. So,
Well, you've gone through a lot of cameras just like I have, and I think from last count in terms of digital cameras, I'm close to about 35 digital cameras now, and
I
that doesn't
come
count.
close to that.
And that doesn't even count my film cameras that I've gone through over the years. But if you had to estimate, how many cameras do you think you've gone through?
I would say 5 or 6.
Okay.
I want to say, but it obviously in a shorter span of time. So, and again, the D750, I've kind of stuck with that one for a while. I do have quite an array of lenses at home. And then I did forget to mention I have a Hasselblad too, a medium format. So I have the 35 millimeter, the medium format, and the digital.
For those who don't know, medium format is a larger size film negative. It's typically 2 inches by 2 inches square, or 6 centimeters by 6 centimeters if you're into metrics. And you get better quality overall. I actually owned 3 Hasselblads in the past. I had a Veronica SQAI.
Russ has always been my idol, I guess, inspiration.
And I've kind of always felt bad that I actually sold off all my Hasselblad gear because those things are actually coming back, just like vinyl records are coming back for audio.
Exactly.
We're finding people are getting back into film as well. Quality is always better when you have a larger negative, but it's a big unwieldy type of camera. It's not something that you can move quickly with. But it, like you said earlier, it forces you to kind of think a little bit before you actually take the shot. And of course, being a larger negative, it costs you more money every time you take that photo. So unlike how we do things today, we find people tend to shoot 10, 15 shots to get one good one.
Yeah,
But I think it's better to think a little bit before you actually take that shot.
Yeah, I agree. And the Hasselblad it's a very special camera. 35 millimeter, as we all know, is 36 exposures on a roll of film, but the Hasselblad is only 12. So you're really, really thinking through your shots.
Right. Whereas in the film days, if once you put a roll of film in there, you have to finish that roll of film before you can move on.
Yeah.
We have a benefit with digital. If you wanted to change ISO levels, it would be like the equivalent of changing film. I could do that shot by shot, but in film, you've got to finish those 12 shots before you can actually go on to the next. Now, the nice part about the Hasselblad is you have removable backs. You can actually put 12 shots in one back and another 12 shots on another back and just flip the backs back and
I've
forth.
actually never done that. I have it, but I've never tried that. I just finish out the roll, and sometimes it might take me months to do that because I will be hanging with 3 or 4 shots left to take, and again, I always want to do something that is great or really think it through. So, it'll be a few months sometimes before I finish a roll of film.
And the anticipation of seeing what you shot, you're waiting months to see it.
And sometimes I forgot what I actually shot, so it's kind of fun to do that. I've definitely made mistakes along the way. I'll never forget last year, I think it was, I decided to be brave and I brought my Hasselblad camera to Wrigley Field, and they have this new Wrigley Park out in front. The stadium's been redone. So I was there with my Hasselblad, and here comes Tom Ricketts, the owner of the Cubs, and my husband said hello to him. He sat down. I asked him, "Can I take a picture?" And he commented, "Wow, that's quite a camera you have there." So, but the end of the story is that when I brought the film to be developed, there was nothing on it. So I had loaded it incorrectly. Anyways, live and learn.
Yeah,
So,
you live and learn.
Yeah.
Make those mistakes. But
Yeah.
that's too bad. So, but I know too that you've gone beyond just shooting for fun. You shot a wedding recently.
I shot a wedding. That was my first wedding, and prior to that, I've done a lot of portrait sessions, like engagement, family, babies, and it kind of led up to a wedding, and it was. I appreciate what wedding photographers go through because it was a lot of work, and I felt very stressful. And I think we're always our harshest critics, and I felt like, again, mistakes were made, but in the end, the bride and groom were very happy. They were ecstatic with the shots and everything. And I brought my film camera with as well, and the wedding took place in Burlington, Vermont, and it was a lot of fun.
That's good.
So, yeah.
Well, I think that's the avenue people usually go with their photography. They shoot for themselves, and then eventually friends find out they do it, and then the next thing you know, you're doing professional photography.
Yeah, that's kind of how this happened, a friend of a friend thing. So,
I don't think there's actually any photographers who, well, let's hope not, that just buy a camera and says, I'm going to be a photographer and I'm going to charge people to do this. It's usually a hobby, I think, that starts out.
Exactly.
And then people see that you're doing well and they say, can you shoot my picture? And then you start thinking, well, maybe I can make a business out of this.
Yeah, I remember in one of Russ's classes, I started out just doing landscape and nature and birds, and which I still love, but he said, I guarantee you're going to get into portrait. And I said, never. And of course, here I am doing portrait. And it's, I think I've really learned a lot from Russ. And I've also come to him for a lot of one-on-one sessions. And even like for this wedding, I saw him a couple times and really went through lighting and the use of the flash, and I've learned a lot.
Well, besides the photography, we found out too that we both have an interest in music.
Yes. Russ is a man of many talents. Just try to be like Russ, because Russ is right.
I'm always right.
Only when,
except for when I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So anyways, I found out that Lynn was starting to take guitar lessons, and I've been playing guitar over 50 years. So I invited her actually to one of our guitar get-togethers, and since then she's been coming to them, and so we've become good friends besides being teacher and student. But I think that's how things work out. You meet people, different things, and the next thing you know, there is some commonality that we all have. Yeah. So that's a good thing. So I wish you luck to continue with your music too.
Yeah, thank you. It's a work in progress for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think artistic people tend to do multiple things. Some people are photographers and artists. Others are photographers and musicians. But there's always that creative outlet that we're always looking for, right?
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to tell the rest of us out here in YouTube land?
In YouTube land. No, I think we've covered it, and I just want to thank you for everything that I've learned in the last, I think it's been 6-7 years now.
It's been a while, yeah.
So it was definitely, took a while, and as I mentioned, I did everything several times just to really have the information stick. And I know Russ has mentioned a few times, like when I've come to these one-on-one sessions, he's never seen anybody come with all the f-stops memorized. I could recite that, and I once came to him before I came for the one-on-one, I went through every button on my camera and typed it up and left space to take notes, and I went and asked him, what's this for? What's that for? And there are still things that I'm a little foggy on, but I've definitely come a long way.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that things have progressed well for you. But I appreciate you coming. This YouTube channel is brand new, as you all know, but I do appreciate everyone coming in and looking at them. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, and make sure you hit the little bell icon too, because that gives you indications of when new videos drop. And definitely consider subscribing. Okay, it doesn't cost anything here on YouTube, but that subscription makes a big difference to me. So I appreciate everyone, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you soon.
All right, thanks.